You sure we're not doing this naked?
No, we're not going to do the video naked.
Okay.
Oh, hey, everybody. Bookham Dano here with Peanut. We're going to do a round of Peanut's picks, and then I got one for you, too. So go ahead.
Oh, I have the floor. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so the first one is AD After Death. This is such a good story. Scott Snyder, Jeff Lemire. And while I read it, if you could just open it and show the art, because it's not your typical graphic novel that you would see, like the blocks.
Some of it,
it's wordy.
Like
it's a lot of words. So
panels here, standard type panels, but then there's also
there's
all right.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll just read you a little bit about it. Okay, After Death is set in a future where a genetic cure for death has been found, and years later, one man starts to question everything, leading him on a mind-bending journey that will bring him face-to-face with his past and his own. So I read this in one sitting, and I've had in my family back-to-back deaths. And this book really it's really philosophical. And when you read the first, I'll just read you this first. Someone once told me that all the clues to your life lie in your first memory. Your fears, your strength, what you'll struggle with. This is mine. So that's how it starts. So it starts out, he's a little boy, and his mom is ill, and I'm not giving away anything, she passes, and he kind of he struggles with that, and then the whole book, the whole journey, look at these beautiful colors.
Yeah, that's gorgeous.
This whole book, it just begs the question, would we be better off if we had a cure for death, if we just never died? And it's really thought-provoking. I would recommend it for all ages, because I think it would make a good conversation for at the dinner table. I don't know if anybody still eats together, or your friends or things like that. It was really it was amazing. It's really good. I really recommend it. Pick it up. And this came in three, what would you call it?
Floppies or single issues.
Yeah. So we have the hardcover, and I would recommend get the hardcover. Get all three that are in there.
It's a beautiful edition.
Yeah, Scott Snyder. We went to a panel. Do you remember that panel?
Yeah. Oh, this is so cool. It was at C2E2. It was one of the first ones we went to.
Yeah.
And it was the tail end of the Snyder Capullo run on Batman, and so they had at the Batman panel for DC. They were up there talking, and they were talking about their work relationship, which was, man, it was such a hilarious story.
Because they couldn't be more opposite, really. Yeah. So you wanted to know, how do these two work together? So this is a great example.
Yeah, Snyder's a fan of the words. All the words.
Mm-hmm. He likes words.
Yeah, more words. And so Capullo's like, hey man, your words are getting in the way of my art. And, Scott Snyder's, because Capullo's, kind of a metal guy, weightlifter, very direct. And Snyder's more, like, well, buddy, I was thinking about it, and I'm glad you brought that up, because, some of your pictures, they're crowding out my words. And anyway, there was just a lot of back and forth like that. That was great, but it's clear that they, despite, when they first started working together, I think they had some issues to overcome with each other's styles, but they obviously did, and
because their Batman
fantastic.
Run was really good,
yeah.
and the art was amazing, and the words were amazing. But it was probably Scott Snyder's Batman run. It's wordy,
Yeah, I just reread Court of Owls, and it's
not that it's a big deal that things are wordy, but usually with graphic novels, I would imagine if you had little kids and you did reading time, a graphic novel for yourself, it doesn't. It's not. You're not investing a whole lot of time. So, but with his stuff, it's like reading a short novel, pretty much. And I read it in one sitting, and
And Jeff Lemire is a
amazing.
great storyteller too.
He's a great artist.
He writes Descender and Gideon Falls, and he's also happens to be an artist. And so the combo of those two guys, I think, really works. What else you got?
So I have March, which if you watched our other video, I did The Silence of Our Friends.
Yep.
And I highly recommend March. Now we have the trilogy. So it comes in this really beautiful slipcase and it's packaged beautifully. So there's 3 books that are in there. The first book, this is John Lewis's vivid story of a lifelong struggle for civil rights. So the first book spans John Lewis's youth in rural Alabama, his life-changing meeting with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., the birth of the Nashville student movement and their battle to tear down segregation through nonviolent lunch counter sit-ins. And so that's book 1. And it's the same artist, Nate Powell, who does The Silence of Our Friends. And it's great. And then book two is again, it's John Lewis's story. After the success of the Nashville sit-ins, John Lewis is more committed than ever to changing the world through nonviolence as he and his fellow freedom rider board a bus into the vicious heart of the Deep South. They will be tested like never before. So beautiful, so beautiful. And it's all in black and white, which I think to be very symbolic.
Yeah, and be very effective in storytelling as well.
And then book 3 is, again, just concludes with the struggle. There comes new allies, new opponents, the unpredictable new president who might be both at once, and basically it's leading up to Selma, book 3. And I know that right now you have children at home, and I would consider this book to be better than most textbooks. Like I would probably campaign really hard to get these into schools, because I think you learn more from a man's perspective, living it, going through it, meeting the people that you learn about, and it's really powerful. And I cried all 3 books, and definitely recommend them. And this slipcover trilogy one.
Yeah, the 3-volume edition is very nice. I mean, this is really solid slipcover.
Yeah.
I think it's probably made for libraries. And just I love superheroes as much as the next guy, but graphic novels are also an amazing opportunity to educate, whether it's kids or...
Because I feel like you can kind of trick them in a way. You can trick them because it has pictures, but also what they're reading are really powerful words that we should all know and learn, right? Because it's about learning.
I work at a public library. I know we at the library have many copies of this. Obviously, right now during the pandemic, libraries are probably closed everywhere. I know ours is. But check online. If you have a library card, check your library's website. There's good chance that they've got some online resources.
Hoopla?
Hoopla is a great one. There's
Overdrive.
tons of comics on Hoopla, people.
Yeah, all of the comics that you see here, you could. I did check. You can Hoopla, Overdrive. Now there's another.
I don't
one.
think Overdrive has comics, but Hoopla certainly does.
Hoopla definitely.
So see if your library subscribes to Hoopla. It's a service that your library would have to pay for, but if they do, and you have a library card, you can probably use it.
And you don't have to buy it from Amazon. You could just read it on your phone, on your tablet, and
exactly.
It's a really amazing service. So, okay, so should I do my third pick, or do you want to?
How about I jump in real quick, give you a break for just a second. Getting back to superheroes, this is X Factor Matrix. Multiple Choice is the name of this. It's a, I think it's from 2008. First printing 2008. This was a gift from my son-in-law, and I think he's much more versed in like the X-Men and that whole mutant world than I am. Of course, it wouldn't take much to know more than I do about that. But he picked this for me, and after having read it, he did a really good job, because this is kind of like it's a mystery, detective thing, and it's got a little bit of noir to it, which is kind of our thing.
Yeah, we love
noirs. It's a really interesting story. It's about Multiple Man, who his mutation is if he gets hit, or if he like falls down and hits the ground hard, it creates a duplicate of himself. And he can
that's cool.
Send this duplicate off to do things. So a lot of times he uses them to learn things. He'll send them to classes, or he'll send them to speeches, or to be an apprentice of some kind.
That's I want that superpower.
Yeah. And then he like reassembles them, rejoins with them later, and gets the knowledge that they...
A meeting of the minds.
Yeah. So in this case, he is a private detective, and he had sent out one of his multiples to do surveillance on somebody, and that multiple got himself killed. So he's got to solve his own murder.
No way!
It's really cool.
That's really cool.
So I enjoyed it, even though I didn't know any of these characters coming into it. It was great, and thanks, Justin. Appreciate.
Well, this is gonna be a peanut pick. You might see a duplicate of his, because that sounded really cool. Yeah. We have so many trade paperbacks or graphic novels that it's hard to choose. So yeah, nice job, bud. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right,
so
what's your last one for today?
Last one. We saved the big one. This is a big one. I'm gonna Yep. It's heavy. It's big. Now flip through that for me, Danny, really quick. While I'm gonna read you guys what this is about.
Oh, it's like lined paper, like a notebook.
Yeah, and before I tell you what it's about, this is very nostalgic for me, this lined paper, because when I was a kid, I didn't have sketchbooks. I had ruled notebooks.
Yeah.
And so, like, I would draw like this, and then it would usually be like my math assignment would be in the corner or something. So when I saw this, it really brought me back to when I was a kid, before, I had sketchbooks and all that kind of fun stuff.
Some of this is like really beautiful, and then some of it's really haunting.
Yeah. So set against the tumultuous political backdrop of the late 60s Chicago, My Favorite Thing is Monsters is a fictional graphic diary of a 10-year-old Karen Reyes, filled with a B-movie horror and pulp monster magazine icons. Karen Reyes tries to solve the murder of her dynamic upstairs neighbor. Whew, I cannot read today, y'all. Anka Silverberg, a Holocaust survivor, while the interconnected stories of those around her unfold. When Karen's investigation takes us back to Anka's life in Nazi Germany, the reader discovers how the personal, the political, the past, and the present converge. This is a truly, truly beautiful, haunting story. It's beautiful because of the art, and it's also haunting and beautiful because the author, let me get her name right, because shout out to her.
Emil Ferris?
Yeah. So she contracted West Nile virus when she was 40, and she was paralyzed in 3 different parts of her body, but she was an artist, so to keep her drawing hand active, she drew. And this is her debut, and there's 2 more volumes that are equally this long.
What?
Yep. There's 3 volumes altogether. So
that's,
so if you just go through here and look at the drawings and you bear that in mind, that's what her process of healing was to draw and make sure that there was strength in her drawing hand so she didn't lose any ability. That in itself blows my mind. So the story you kind of have to catch, like you kind of have to learn how to read it because it's not set in blocks like a regular comic strip. And so sometimes there's just,
that's gorgeous.
It's just pure drawings, and you can tell that a lot of it is either pastel and pencil and ballpoint. I mean, that's just straight up ballpoint pen right there. And it's a wonderful story. It really connects you with the Holocaust and learn a lot about that. And the 10-year-old who is the narrator of the story is going through a lot of things herself, and she just loves the neighbor that passes because she's charismatic and she's very beautiful and she wants to know everything. So she's learning all of everything that kind of went on through the Holocaust, and that she was a survivor. And you just dig really deep into it. If you grew up in Chicago or around Chicago, and if Chicago's nostalgic for you like it is for me, then definitely this is one to pick up because there's so many.
I think we saw a shot of the Art Institute.
The Art Institute.
They reproduced some of the works inside.
Yeah, the Riviera, the Riv. So she goes into Old Town, not just like downtown Chicago, like Old Town, and I think that.
We were just at the Riv last fall.
Yep, we were just at the Riv. So for Monomarth. So yeah, it's really wonderful. I think it definitely, I would say, education based, along with learning different skills, how to draw. She draws herself. The little girl is a monster. It's not a little girl, so it's kind of neat. But I would definitely say that this is a good pick up now, because it will take you a little while to read it. Because like I said, you kind of have to learn where the story's going because it's all over the page. So.
All right.
Keep reading, guys.
Use this time as an opportunity to learn something.
Learn something new.
Maybe push your boundaries a little bit. And also, read something comforting.
Something fun.
Fun.
So till next time, stay safe, everybody.
That's right. Stay safe. Thanks for watching.
Bye.